Hello everybody, welcome back to another Project Sunday. I'm here with another springy project which is these headbands. So these are really simple headbands to make. They're using the cross stitch, which I will talk you through in a moment. So all you're going to need is some DK weight yarn. I've just got this big ball. You can use a different size weight, just adapt the pattern a little bit. Then you're going to need your darning needle, a pair of scissors just to chop off the ends, and then your corresponding hook. So I'm using a 4mm hook with my DK weight. So let's begin. So this pattern is adaptable, so you can adapt it to your head width or your the preference of the length that you want it, but for me this is my preference and this is the pattern I've decided to go with. So to begin, we're going to make a slip knot, and you can do this in any way that you prefer, and I'm just going to insert my hook into that slip knot and just pull to tighten. Now for my head width, I'm going to be chaining about 80 chains, but as I've said that it's totally adaptable to you, so go ahead and chain your head width depending on how big your head is. So yarn over and chain. I'm going to do 80 of these chains. So I'm just going to continue doing 80 of these chains. So pause the video and meet me back here when you have your desired length of chain. Okay, so you should now have your desired length of chain, and all we're going to do is just join the chain so that we can have a circular band. So just making sure that your chain is completely flat and you're on the same size. Just go along the chain until you find the first one that you've done, and all you're going to do is work a slip stitch into that first chain, yarning over and pulling through both of the loops, and now you should have a continuous band like this. So now we're moving on to our first round. So we've just slip stitched into that first chain, and we're just going to chain one to start our work. This chain does not count as a stitch, it's just so that we have a bit of leverage. Okay, so now we're going to work our cross stitch. Now our cross stitch is a type of single crochet, however it makes a little cross in the work. So if I just show you one of the examples, you can see that it's like a single crochet, but it makes a little cross, which is a cute little design for the headband. So to do this, you're just going to work in each chain around, and you're going to insert your hook into the chain, but instead of yarning over like a normal crochet, you're going to take your hook over the yarn. So I'll show you again. Instead of going under the yarn and grabbing it that way, you're going to take your hook over the yarn and grab it and pull it through. And then you're just going to work just like a normal double crochet and yarn over. Okay, so working into the next chain, insert your hook. Again, instead of taking your yarn under and doing a yarn over, you're going to take your hook and you're going to go over the yarn and grab it just like that and complete. Into the next one, insert your hook, take the hook over the yarn, grab it, pull it through, yarn over and pull through those two. So here I've done 3, and I'm just going to work this all the way around until I have my first round of cross stitches. Okay, so I've just come to the end of round 1, and all I'm going to do is just slip stitch into the first cross stitch we did to join the round. So here's my round 1, and we're just going to repeat this for 8 rounds. So as I said, this pattern is totally adaptable, so if you want a little bit of a thinner headband or a thicker headband, you can totally do that by just adjusting the amount of rows. But for me personally, I liked the look of about 8 rows or 8 rounds. So just begin each round with a chain of 1 and work into the stitch directly underneath it. So for a few more times, I'm just going to show you how to work the cross stitch, just in case you didn't catch that in my round 1. So all you're going to do is just work kind of like a double crochet or a single crochet in US terms, and you're just going to insert your hook into the stitch, but instead of yarning over, you're going to yarn under what it looks like. So if you see here, I've got my hook and my yarn on this side, and normally what I do is I yarn over just like that. But what I'm going to do is take my hook over, grab the yarn and pull it through that stitch. And then just to complete, it's just like a double crochet, you yarn over and pull through 2. I'll show you again. So in the next stitch, insert your hook. Instead of yarning over like that, take your hook over the yarn, grab it, pull through and pull through 2. So I hope you've got that cross stitch idea. If you are struggling with it, don't worry, just go back and rewind the video, or if you are really struggling, just change it to a normal single crochet and the pattern will look beautiful as well. So work this for 8 more rounds, or the total of how thick you want your headband, and I'll meet you back here when you are have done that. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end of my round 8, and I'm just going to slip stitch into this first stitch of the round, and that is it for the headband bit. And we're just going to cut off, and then I'm going to show you how to make this bow bit, which is really simple to do. So just chain 1 and cut your yarn and pull through so it's nice and tightly secured. So obviously, as I've said, this pattern is adaptable, but this is just the width that I like my headbands to be. So now then, for our wrap around bit, you're just going to take your yarn again, and you're going to cut off a good amount. It doesn't really matter too much, but you're going to need enough to wrap and make the bow section. So I've just got about this much, I don't really know, and you're just going to thread your needle to get ready to sew. So it's really easy to do this next part. It's a little bit fiddly, but you should be able to do it. So I'm going to take where my seam lies. You can do it in any part of your headband, but I'm just going to take the seam section so we can cover that up. And I'm just going to kind of scrunch it together. So just kind of scrunch it all together in like the place that you want your bow to be. So there we go, we've scrunched it all together, and this is where we're just going to sew. So I've scrunched it all together, and I'm just going to take my needle and I'm just going to do a few back and forth with the needle just to secure that scrunch in place. So we're not doing the wraparound bit yet, but we're just gonna sew a few more times just so that it's nice and secure. Okay, so now I've got this scrunch bit nice and secure. You can do this as many times as you like. I just go back and forth a few times and it seems to work. I'm just going to unthread my needle because I don't really need that anymore. And I'm just going to start wrapping the rest of the yarn around. So in this I like to grab my other two ends as well, just so they're nice and wrapped in. Just because it makes it easier and I don't have to sew in the ends then if I do that. So as you can see, I'm just wrapping around this section so that I can get that nice bow effect. This is just the way I like to do it. If you do have another way, you can do that for your headband, but it's just the way I like to do it, is wrapping it around. So just keep going until you reach a point where you're happy with your bow. Each one is unique, so don't worry if your bow is a little bit wider or a little bit smaller, it's all okay. So I'm just going to keep wrapping. Okay, so now I've just got a little end, and all I'm going to do is just finish off the bow by sewing in my ends. So I've got these two here and I've just got this one here, and all I'm going to do is sew those in, ready to complete the bow. So I've just finished sewing in the ends and my headband is complete. So this is a really fun crafty idea for you to do during springtime. They look really nice in your hair, and obviously you can make many different colours for each outfit or each situation that you're going to be in. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this small little Sunday project, and I hope you enjoyed it. So don't forget to leave me a like, and it really helps me out, and also subscribe to my channel for future content. I post every week at the moment, so I'm hoping to continue that. Also comment down below all of your ideas that you'd like to see, and also if you get the chance, follow me on Instagram. I'm at hooks.andneedles1. There'll be like the name at the end of the video and also in the description if you want to go and check that out. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.